Hey everyone, and welcome to day 4 of the 30-day beginner guitar series guitar series challenge. So today I'm going to talk about the circle of fifths, and we're going to make a chord progression. I'm going to tell you the notes that are in the key of C major. So let's start that and show you what the circle of fifths looks like. Right here, these are all the keys for the circle of fifths: C, G, D, A, E, and B. And then when we go to the other side, it's called a circle of fourths, but we're just talking about the circle of fifths. So you got the major key of C, major key of G, the major key of D, the major key of A, the major key of E, and the major key of B. And then under that, you have what is called the relative minor to that key. So for instance, C, you would have A minor. That's the relative minor to the key. G, you would have E minor. D, you would have B minor. A, F sharp minor. E, C sharp minor. And B, you would have G sharp minor. So I'll show you on the guitar how that looks if you want to find out the difference between a C and A minor. It's really simple. So in the key, let's say the pentatonic scale, penta meaning 5, so it would be 5 notes. 8th fret, and then the 5th fret to the 7th fret, then the next string, the 5th fret, and then the 7th fret. So you would have C, D, E, G, A. And then the relative minor would be A minor, and you go to the 5th fret on the low E string, 5, and then the 8th fret, and below that, 5, 7, and the string below that, 5, 7. And that's A minor. And if you're saying that pretty much look the same, the C major and the A minor, you're correct, because the C major key and the A minor key, they have exactly the same notes. It's just a different starting position. That's the only difference. So 8th fret here, if you want to find it easy, you just go down 3 frets. 1, 2, 3. And you're in A minor. Say if you're in a different key, say you're in D major, and you want to know what the relative minor is, same thing, just go down 3 frets. 1, 2, 3 from the D major. That's the 10th fret, 9th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret. And then that C major, the key that we're talking about today, 8th fret, go down 3, there's the 7th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret. Really simple, right? Okay, now let's go to the next slide and see what we got for you. Okay, and here is how you make up a major scale. You have WWH, WWWH, and you're like, what does that mean? So that means whole step. You're going 2 frets up, then a whole step, another 2 frets, and then a half step. So let's show you on the guitar what that looks like. So say I'm here. Say we're on the G note. You go up a whole step, which would be 2 frets, 1, 2, and then another whole step, 1, 2, and then a half step. And then you go up another whole step, then you go up another whole step. You see another W, that's 2 frets. Then W, another 2 frets. And then an H, half step. And an easier way to remember what the major scale formula is for a major key is just remember 2 W's and an H and 3 W's and an H. That's how I ended up remembering it for myself to make it easier. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble here. I was hoping not to have this trouble. Okay, and here are the chords that you end up making up in a major key. In the first is always C major, not C major, but it's always major. The second one is always minor. The third is always minor. The fourth is always major. The fifth is always major. Sixth is always minor, and the seventh is always diminished. An easier way to remember that is the first, that C note, or whatever key you're in, that first is always major. The fourth is always major. In this case, it's the F, and the fifth is always major, which in this case is the G. So C, F, G, 1, 4, 5 is always major, and then the 2, 3, and 6, the D minor, E minor, A minor here are the 2, 3, and 6. 2 is the D minor, the 3 is the E minor, the 6 is the A minor. So just remember 1, 4, 5 in any major key, those are always major chords. And then the 2, 3, 6, those are always minor chords, not just in the key of C major, in any key. And then not be diminished, but diminished is always diminished in the seventh note, the last note there. And then this is what happens after you're in the key of C major. You may have to sharp a note to get that major key formula, that whole half, whole half, or two holes and 1/2, and 3 holes and 1/2. Like in the next key, like G major, you would have to raise that last note to get that half step to make it an F sharp, not an F note. So it raises the pitch by 1/2 step. As you see there, F, it goes to an F sharp. And then you want to see the opposite of that, what that is called. That is called a flat. It just does the opposite. It lowers the pitch by 1/2 step, or 1 fret. As I showed you on the guitar, 2 frets up is a whole, 1 fret lowered would be a flat. Now here are the notes in the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. I know I went a little backwards there without telling you the notes first. Sorry about that. It's early for me here. So yeah, you don't have any sharps, any flats in this key. That's why I always start with the C major key, because it's the easiest to learn. It's the simplest to learn. You don't have to worry about sharps and flats, what an enharmonic is. That just means like a flat and a sharp. So for instance, like a B flat, A sharp, it's exactly the same thing, but they just have different names, and that's called an enharmonic. But I don't want to make this difficult, so just remember these notes here: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's the key of C major. And the relative minor is A minor, and you just start from the A note. The C major and the A minor have exactly the same notes in it. Only difference is the starting point. Sorry about that. That's what I was trying to get to. Okay, so now we're going to take from those C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we're going to make a progression. And as you see there, a 1, 4, 5 progression. So like I said, the C, F, and G is always major, and those were the notes that I took. C, D, E, F. And there's the 4. You go up one more note, 5 will be the G. So you have C. Let me make myself bigger so you can see my guitar. So you have the C major, then the F major, and then the G major. You've heard that in a million songs. Really simple, 3 easy chords, even C, G, and D you hear in millions of songs. You learn those 3, you can start making your own songs in the same progression, 1, 4, 5 progression. So I hope that helps you learn about the C major circle of fifths a little better and understand where the notes come from and how to make a major key formula. I would love any feedback. Give me some feedback. I know this one was a little back and forth here. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned. Take care. And once again, rock on. Let's go for day 5 tomorrow.